Why carbon credits are the next big investment opportunity.
It's a real pleasure to introduce Phil here, who will introduce himself in just a second. But Phil, we've known each other for a little bit now. We've had a few breakfast, lunches, plenty of disagreements over the value of different types of carbon credit. And I thought, given that we have these such fruity conversations, offline, it would be good to kind of bring one online to see, where the debate really sits over the future outlook and where the value is, certainly from a financial sense. And so, Phil, I mean, it would be great if you can introduce yourself.
Sure.
And then we can kind of dig right in.
Absolutely. Yep. So, hi, everybody. My name's Phil Beattie. I'm primarily from a financial services background, so in asset management and indexation. But while I was working in index at MSCI, I really started to develop a passion for ESG. By the time I left there, I'd say 90% of my work was working with the world's biggest asset managers and asset owners on how to integrate ESG into investment approaches, and obviously a critical part of that's carbon. So I wanted to turn that 90 into 100, and I started working for a company called Spark Change, where we launched the world's first physically backed product based on a regulated carbon market. So that's really how they've got into the specialization in carbon. Since then, I've worked on a number of specific industry objectives. So I worked with the aviation industry, for example, across different kinds of carbon markets, voluntary and compliance, to understand differences and how to utilize those in different strategies for those clients.
Phil, that product that you just described just a second ago, what could you explain maybe just in a layman's term, like what that really means?
Yeah.
Why that was kind of significant, and I guess just a bit about your experience in doing that. Again, bearing in mind not all of our listeners and viewers are adept with the weird and wonderful language and acronyms that we find ourselves so familiar with.
Of course. So we'll talk a little bit more about what a compliance carbon market is as we go on. But essentially, carbon markets, compliance markets issue permits to pollute. So for industries covered by those markets, they must source and surrender one allowance for every ton of CO2 they pollute to the atmosphere. And what we did was launch an investment product that allows anybody to buy one of those permits. And those permits, don't have a shelf life. You can hold it forever until you sell it, and eventually a polluter surrenders it to the governing body, the EU or whoever it is. And at that point, it's cancelled.
And I think that's what's interesting, because I think that what a lot of people might not understand about the carbon market is that the big numbers we see around carbon market size and growth rate actually come from that side of the market.